My family disowned me for choosing baking over business. But when their empire collapsed, I bought their company and made them beg for help. The aroma of freshly baked bread filled my kitchen at 4 a.m., just like every morning for the past 5 years. While most of Boston's financial district still slept, I was already elbow-deep in dough, preparing for another day at Sweet Success Bakery. The irony of the name wasn't lost on me. My family had mockingly suggested it when I first opened, certain I would fail within months. I'm Rose Hamilton, the youngest daughter of the Hamilton family, once one of Boston's most prominent business dynasties. I say once because at this very moment, Hamilton Enterprises was facing bankruptcy, and my family's empire was crumbling. Not that they knew I was aware of their financial troubles. They'd stopped speaking to me years ago when I chose baking over banking. The industrial mixer hummed steadily as I prepared another batch of croissant dough. My assistant manager, Lisa, would arrive in an hour, followed by the rest of my staff. My little bakery now employed 30 people across 3 locations. Though my family didn't know that either, they still pictured me in a tiny storefront, playing at being a business owner while they ran their real company. My phone buzzed. An email from James Chin. My financial advisor, confidential, Hamilton Enterprises stock dropped another 15% yesterday. They'll have to declare bankruptcy by the end of the week unless they find a buyer. Shall we proceed as discussed? I smiled, remembering the last family dinner I'd attended 5 years ago. It was the night I announced I was leaving my position as a junior financial analyst at Hamilton Enterprises to open a bakery. A bakery? My older sister Catherine had laughed, nearly choking on her wine. What a waste of your business degree, Rose. My father sighed, looking disappointed as usual. This is beneath you, beneath this family, he said. My mother simply shook her head, while my brother Alexander, the CEO of Hamilton Enterprises, smirked. Well, when your little hobby fails, don't come crying to us for a job, he said. I had walked out that night and never looked back. What they didn't know was that I'd seen the warning signs even then. Questionable accounting practices, risky investments, Alexander's increasing desperation to maintain the appearance of success. I had tried to warn them, but who would listen to the baby of the family who just wanted to bake cookies? So I had quietly built my own empire, while theirs began to crack. Sweet Success wasn't just a bakery, it was the flagship of Sweet Success Enterprises, a corporation that now included a wholesale business supplying high-end restaurants, a cooking school, and a line of specialty baking ingredients sold in stores across New England. Last year's revenue was $22 million, but on paper everything was hidden under shell companies and different names. To the world and my family, I was just the owner of a modest bakery chain. The bell above the back door chimed as Lisa arrived. "Morning, boss. Ready for another busy day?" she asked. I wiped flour from my hands and checked my phone one more time. Another email, this one from my lawyer, all paperwork in place. Ready to move whenever you give the word. More than ready, I replied to Lisa, thinking of the meeting I knew was coming. Soon, my family would have no choice but to turn to the one person they had underestimated all these years. The morning rush kept us busy, as usual. Executives from nearby financial firms lined up for our famous almond croissants and fresh brewed coffee. Several faces I recognized from Hamilton Enterprises, mid-level managers who had no idea their company was about to implode or that their CEO's little sister was the one serving them breakfast. Around 10 a.m., my phone rang, a number I hadn't seen in years, Catherine. Her voice had lost its usual condescending tone, replaced by barely concealed panic. "Rose, we need to talk. It's important," she said. I kept my voice neutral. "I'm rather busy, Catherine. The bakery, you know." "Please," she almost whispered. "It's about the company. We need your help." I closed my eyes, savoring the moment I had known would come. "I have a meeting with my wholesale suppliers at 2 p.m. I could meet you at 4, I said. "Thank you," she breathed. "The company office?" "No," I said firmly. "My office, above the bakery." There was a pause. I could almost hear her swallowing her pride. "Fine. We'll be there," she said. After hanging up, I called James. "They're coming." "Is everything ready?" I asked. "All set," he confirmed. "I've prepared all the documentation showing exactly how Alex mismanaged the company. The board is already secretly on board with our plan. They just need your family to agree." I thanked him and went back to work, losing myself in the rhythm of baking. People often asked why I still worked in the kitchen when I could afford to step back. The truth was, I found peace in the precision of pastry, the chemistry of baking. While Alexander had played with numbers to make failures look like successes, I had built something real, something people could taste, touch, and enjoy. At 3:55 p.m., I changed out of my flour-dusted chef's coat into a crisp black blazer. I had just settled behind my desk when Lisa knocked. "They're here," she said, trying to hide her excitement. She was one of the few who knew the full story. All three of them. I nodded. "Send them up." Catherine entered first, her designer heels clicking on the hardwood floor. She looked thinner than I remembered, stress evident in the lines around her eyes. Alexander followed, his once immaculate suit slightly rumpled, his confident stride replaced by a nervous shuffle. My father came last, and my heart clenched. He had aged decades in 5 years. They took in my office with poorly concealed surprise. The space was professional, elegant, with large windows overlooking the financial district. Framed magazine articles hung on one wall, Sweet Success, Boston's rising star in artisanal baking, innovation in traditional pastry, 30 under 30 food entrepreneurs. I wondered if they'd ever bothered to read any of them. "Thank you for meeting with us," Catherine began, clearly appointed as spokesperson. "We need your signature." I raised an eyebrow. "My signature?" Alexander exploded. "Don't play dumb, Rose. You still own 15% of Hamilton Enterprises. We need all shareholders to agree to this sale or everything is lost." I leaned back in my chair. The sale to Global Dynamics for pennies on the dollar? The same sale that would leave all our employees without severance, our suppliers unpaid, and our family name in ruins? They stared at me. "How did you—" Catherine started. "No," I finished. "I may have left the company, but I never stopped watching. I saw every mistake, every bad decision, every time Alexander cooked the books to hide his failures." Alexander lunged forward. "You have no proof." I opened my desk drawer and pulled out a thick folder. "Actually, I have every proof, every document, every questionable transaction, every risky investment that brought us to this point." I met my father's eyes. "I tried to warn you 5 years ago, but you wouldn't listen to the daughter who just wanted to bake cookies." The room fell silent except for the distant hum of traffic below. Through the window I could see the Hamilton Enterprises building towering over the city. By this time tomorrow it might have a new owner. "What do you want?" my father finally asked, his voice heavy with defeat. I stood up slowly. "I want to save the company, save the jobs, save our family's legacy." I pressed a button on my phone. "James, please come in." The door opened and James entered with another folder. My family's eyes widened as they recognized one of Boston's top financial advisors. "But to do that," I continued, "things will have to change, starting with the management." Alexander's face turned red. "You can't—" "I can!" I cut him off. "Because right now, I'm the only one who can save Hamilton Enterprises from complete collapse." I smiled, thinking of all the times they had dismissed me, mocked me, underestimated me. The only question is, are you ready to listen to the little sister who just bakes cookies? Catherine was the first to recover from the shock. "What exactly are you suggesting, Rose?" she asked, her lawyer's mind already calculating angles and possibilities. I gestured to James, who began distributing documents to my stunned family members. "Sweet Success Enterprises," he explained, "is prepared to purchase a controlling interest in Hamilton Enterprises. The offer is significantly higher than Global Dynamics and includes provisions to protect all current employees and suppliers." Alexander flipped through the papers, his face growing redder with each page. "Sweet Success Enterprises? This bakery?" He laughed, but there was a note of hysteria in it. "You can't be serious." Actually, I pressed a button on my laptop, turning the wall-mounted screen on to display a corporate overview. Sweet Success Enterprises is a privately held corporation with annual revenue of $22 million, 0 debt, and significant cash reserves. We own 3 retail locations: a wholesale division supplying 122 restaurants across New England, a culinary education center, and a specialty ingredients brand sold in over 500 stores. My father's hands trembled as he studied the financials. How? When did you build all this? He asked. While you were busy mocking my little bakery, I said quietly, I was building an empire. One customer, one product, one location at a time. No shortcuts, no cooked books, no risky investments, just honest work and genuine growth. Catherine's legal training kicked in. Who owns Sweet Success Enterprises? She asked. I do, I replied simply, through a series of holding companies that kept my name off any public documents. I wanted to succeed or fail on my own merits, not the Hamilton name. Alexander slammed his hand on my desk. This is ridiculous. You're trying to steal my company. Your company? I stood up slowly. The company you drove into the ground? The company where 300 people might lose their jobs because of your mismanagement? That company? James cleared his throat. The board has already been briefed on our proposal. They're quite enthusiastic about it. He went behind my back to the board. Alexander's face turned purple. No, Alex, I said. The board came to us. I pulled up another document on the screen. Dozens of emails from board members expressing concerns about Alexander's leadership. They've been watching you spiral for years. They just needed a viable alternative. My father, silent until now, finally spoke. What are your terms? I sat back down, folding my hands on my desk. Sweet Success Enterprises will purchase a 60% stake in Hamilton Enterprises at $42 per share, more than double what Global Dynamics offered. All current employees keep their jobs, all supplier contracts are honored, and the Hamilton name stays on the building. And what about us? Catherine asked. You and Dad can keep your current positions with some oversight. As for Alexander, I met my brother's furious gaze. He resigns, effective immediately, with a generous severance package and an agreement to never serve as an officer in any Hamilton company again. You can't do this to me, Alexander shouted. I'm the CEO, the eldest son. Being born first doesn't make you a good leader, Alex, I said firmly. Your decisions have brought us to this point. The only question now is whether you want to leave with dignity and wealth or face criminal charges for financial fraud. The room fell silent except for Alexander's heavy breathing. Catherine studied the offer documents with her lawyer's eye, while my father seemed to age another decade in his chair. The board meeting is tomorrow at 9 a.m., James added. They'll vote on either this proposal or bankruptcy. Those are the only options left. My father stood up suddenly. I need to make some calls. Of course, I gestured to a private office adjacent to mine. Use my conference room. As he walked out, I saw him glance at the magazine covers on my wall, really seeing them for the first time. His expression was unreadable. Catherine followed him, already on her phone, likely calling other shareholders. Alexander remained, staring at me with a mixture of hatred and disbelief. How long have you been planning this? He demanded. I haven't been planning anything, Alex, I said. I've been building my own successful company while watching you destroy ours. The only difference is I learned from Mom and Dad's real legacy. What legacy? He scoffed. Hard work, integrity, creating actual value instead of just moving numbers around. I stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the city we both loved. Did you know Mom started Hamilton Enterprises in our garage? Dad was still teaching high school then. They built it from nothing, one client at a time, just like I built Sweet Success. And now you're going to destroy everything they built, he said. I turned back to him. No, Alex. I'm going to save it from you. The next 12 hours passed in a blur of lawyers, documents, and negotiations. My father emerged from countless phone calls, looking exhausted but resigned. Catherine's legal expertise actually proved helpful as we hammered out the final details. Alexander alternated between rage and desperate bargaining, but in the end, faced with the choice between a generous exit package and potential criminal charges, he signed the resignation papers. At 9 a.m., sharp. The next morning, I walked into the Hamilton Enterprises boardroom for the first time in 5 years, the same boardroom where I'd been patronized and dismissed as the baby of the family who didn't understand real business. The vote was unanimous. By 10 a.m., the press release went out. Hamilton Enterprises announces merger with Sweet Success Enterprises. The business world was shocked to learn that the humble bakery chain was actually the parent company of a highly successful private corporation, and that the youngest Hamilton had secretly become one of Boston's most successful entrepreneurs. CNBC ran the headline, "Cookie Queen Saves Family Empire." Bloomberg went with sweet success, how a bakery bought a banking giant. The Wall Street Journal's was my favorite, rising dough, Hamilton transforms from black sheep to white knight. The following weeks were intense. I split my time between sweet success and Hamilton Enterprises, working to stabilize the company while maintaining the standards of excellence at my bakeries. I hired a replacement for Alex, a seasoned CEO with a proven track record of ethical leadership, and began the process of unwinding his riskier ventures. Catherine proved surprisingly adaptable, throwing herself into learning about Sweet Success's operations with the same intensity she'd once applied to corporate law. My father mostly kept to himself, though I occasionally caught him watching me with an expression that looked almost like pride. 1 month after the takeover, I arrived at my original bakery location at my usual time, 4 a.m. Some habits don't change, even when you're running 2 companies. I needed the peace of those early morning hours, the simple pleasure of creating something with my own hands. I was elbow-deep in bread dough when I heard the door open. Turning, I found my father standing awkwardly in the kitchen, looking out of place in his expensive suit. "Dad, what are you doing here so early?" I asked. He stepped forward, inhaling deeply. "It smells like Mom's kitchen," he said softly. "Remember how she used to bake every Sunday?" I nodded, unexpected tears pricking my eyes. Mom had died when I was in college, before I discovered my passion for baking, but those Sunday mornings, watching her create incredible pastries while explaining the chemistry behind them, had clearly influenced me more than I'd realized. "I never told you," Dad continued, "but she always said you were just like her. She saw something in you, a blend of creativity and business sense that reminded her of herself." He picked up one of our signature almond croissants. "She would have loved this place." "Dad, no." "Let me finish," he said, setting the croissant down carefully. "I was wrong, Rose, we all were. We were so focused on maintaining the appearance of success that we forgot what real success looks like." He gestured around the busy kitchen. "This is real. What you've built is real." He swallowed hard. "I'm proud of you." I wiped my flour-covered hands on my apron and hugged him, not caring about his expensive suit. For a moment, we were just father and daughter, surrounded by the smell of fresh bread and new beginnings. The next few months saw both companies flourish. Hamilton Enterprises' stock price recovered as confidence returned to the market. Sweet Success opened 2 new locations and launched a cookbook that became an instant bestseller. Catherine now runs our legal department, bringing her expertise to bear, protecting both companies' interests. My father serves as an advisor, though he's mostly retired, focusing on teaching business ethics at local colleges, an ironic twist that's not lost on anyone. Alexander, last I heard, moved to Florida and opened a jet ski rental company. Some people never learn. As for me, I still start every day in the kitchen at 4 a.m., even though I could afford to never work another day in my life. Because success isn't just about money or power or proving people wrong. It's about staying true to yourself, building something real, and remembering where you came from. Every morning, as I knead dough and check the ovens, I think about how far I've come from that family dinner 5 years ago. The little bakery they mocked has become the foundation of an empire. But more importantly, it's become a testament to the power of believing in yourself, even when no one else does. The original recipe for our signature almond croissants hangs framed in my office now, right next to the merger documents that saved Hamilton Enterprises. 2 different kinds of success, both equally sweet. Last week, a young woman came into the bakery, clearly nervous. She told me she was leaving her corporate job to open a small cafe, and her family thought she was crazy. Could I give her any advice? She asked. I smiled, thinking of all the twists and turns that had brought me to this moment. "Follow your passion," I told her, "but never forget your business sense. Success is like baking. It takes the right ingredients, careful measurement, perfect timing, and, most importantly, patience." Then I gave her my card, my real card, the one with both company logos on it. Her eyes widened as she realized who I was. But most importantly, I added, "Don't let anyone tell you your dreams are too small. Sometimes the smallest seeds grow into the strongest trees." She left, clutching my card like a talisman, standing a little straighter. I watched her go, remembering another young woman who once dared to believe she could build something meaningful, one cookie at a time. The smell of fresh bread filled the air, and somewhere in the financial district, the Hamilton Enterprises building caught the morning sun, its windows gleaming like possibility itself. Sweet success indeed.